I'm blessed to have these beautiful angels, beautiful ladies, pretty ladies, in the house.
Thank you for
to talk about important issues bordering on marriage. We're still extending the marriage issue because to me, that is one epidemic that we all are witnessing and experiencing, especially in this Gen Z era, right? Yeah, it's crazy. So it's something we have to deal with. And I am not shy to hear different opinions and perspective and ideas about, what people think about marriage and divorce. We're here to learn. We're here to share ideas. Nobody knows it all. Nobody's perfect. No idea is perfect. We're here to see how best we can do to curtail the rate of separation and divorce and trouble and whatever we have in our marriage. So that people out there can be able to learn something from what we're saying, and we can be able to learn something from one another too. Because the more we speak, the more we learn from each other. Yeah, so that's why we're here. When it comes to me personally, I have to start by introducing Angie. That's my brother's wife, the most beautiful queen and the most tolerant, enduring queen, the most kind and compassionate queen. I know where I'm coming from because I know her too well. She's family, right?
Got you.
Yeah, so when it comes to, she's been married for a while now, for a minute. She's been married, and she is not new to what we're talking about.
Good.
Yeah, she's married to one of the most stubborn man.
That's a very good way to put it.
Yeah, so it's good to have you here, Angie.
Thank you. I'm happy to be
here. And Sophie, it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah, both of you were not here the last episode.
Yes.
But Christina and Ibi, they were here. They know how the atmosphere rolls. They're familiar with the whole situation.
Okay.
Yeah, the last time they caused the hell out of me.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
It needed to be done.
She's like,
Why? What happened?
So like the last time, I learned something from the last, episode, from the last show. What I learned from the ladies was that cheating is non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
Like they said. And I learned that finances is very important in marriage.
True.
And the third one was you have to bring everything to the table. You have to be accountable for whatever you have done or you have going on. You have to be open to your partner.
Facts.
I learned something from there,
Look at you.
I believe they learned something from me too, because when we talk about cheating, I have my own opinion, which they were very aggressive against. Yeah, they were typically aggressive, and they attacked me.
Oh wow!
For real, I barely survived.
You felt attacked.
I barely survived. You were a witness, right? The last one it was hell let loose, for real.
But you learned something. That's the
that's the most important thing. Exactly. So so to me, I think one thing that is very repulsive and repugnant and resentful to me is divorce. I hate divorce. I hate it with every breath or every air in my lungs, with every breath that I take. I hate it when people, when I see on social media people divorcing, I feel like, wow. Because I understand that marriage is a beautiful thing. Marriage is a wonderful thing. It is the people in marriage that are foolish and ignorant.
Yes, you could say that.
Marriage is heaven. It is the living in it that is hell. And one of the reasons why it's hell is because we are ignorant about marriage.
True.
For real.
No, absolutely.
We don't know what marriage is. We don't have knowledge, understanding, and the wisdom, to apply, what we know. So that's why we're here to talk about the purpose of marriage and to talk about the roles of men and women in marriage.
Okay.
So we're going to start with the purpose of marriage. marriage has a purpose. Everything, there is purpose behind everything. Behind every creation, behind every production, behind every concept, behind everything, there is a purpose. And marriage is a mystery to me because I don't even know how two people can become one. It's a mystery. I don't understand it. They say two people shall become one, right? Yeah, so it's deeper than we think.
Absolutely.
You know, some people think about marriage and what they're thinking about actually is wedding.
Yeah.
Real. You know,
Yes.
that's what I think. So, you're gonna give us the English version. I want to start with you.
Go in.
Yeah, I want to start with you. Give us the English version of your, of your understanding about the purpose of marriage.
Well, marriage is a topic that I've actually studied for many years, and I've helped couples actually work on their marriages. Even an auntie and uncle, I saved their marriage when they were about to get divorced.
Okay.
And they stayed married for another 16 years. So I think I've come to understand it as simply as you can put it. It is finding your counterpart and making a conscious decision that you're choosing that person every day, flaws and all. The purpose of marriage is to have a life companion. Just like we, for those of us who studied the Bible, I'll go there because that's the origination of marriage.
Okay.
Is, Adam was alone and our creator found out that he can't do so much by himself. He needs a partner. He needs a helper.
Okay.
So he made woman from man for that purpose. So in a marriage, we are each other's, partners, confident, best friends and all that, that's the beautiful part of it. But we're still two individuals with different mindsets. But if you don't decide that you're going to respect this person, flaws and all, and care for them, flaws and all, it's going to be, like you said, it's going to be hell. And I think that's the problem that we find in marriages today. Not everyone, most people are very self-centered. It's more about them than them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more about me than us.
Okay.
And the role I believe a woman plays in a marriage is to be, one, the helper to the man, and the nurturer to the entire family, kids and the man. Because marriage is the first place you learn how to love, and love outside of yourself. And if you can't love your wife, you're definitely gonna love your kids right. So when you're married, that's when you learn the true essence of love. It's selfless. And without that, you're gonna have a problem. And after that, then you have kids, then you extend that love to your children.
Okay.
So I think in a nutshell.
So the essence or the purpose, just like I said, of marriage is, you said something that kind of struck me, is you made mention of the kids.
Yes.
So you're saying that the kids, they are one of the reasons or one of the purposes why we have marriage.
Procreation is one of the purposes, but it's not the ultimate purpose, because sometimes you may not even have kids. Sometimes you may not want kids.
Yeah.
So, but in marriage, you learn how to love outside of yourself, because you have to love somebody else.
Yeah.
And to be able to do that is what will guide you outside of your household, how to care for other people, how to have compassion, how to have understanding and patience. There's so many fundamentals that you learn when you're dealing with somebody else who you love. So you learn more about your own character. You learn more about your own abilities. With the right partner, you can skyrocket in so many departments in your life, because this person is your mirror and they bring it out of you, because you can't see yourself with your own eyes. Someone has to see you and tell you, hey, this thing you're doing is not good. Or, hey, you have this great, attribute, keep it up. And that gives you confidence in yourself, because you can only know so much by yourself. But with the person that's there with you day in, day out, with whom you're most vulnerable with, they're going to tell you the truth about who you really are. And some people don't like to hear that truth. And that's why it's very hard for people to stay committed, because they run away from the truth of who they really are.
So you said something that's very interesting. So marriage is not about me.
No, absolutely not.
So when you come into marriage, you're coming to
serve.
serve.
You're coming to be for someone else, and vice versa. It's a partnership of reciprocity.
But sometimes we attract somebody who is very selfish, and you are so giving.
No, that's true.
Right? So how do we attract somebody who is like you?
If you attract someone who's very selfish, don't marry them.
What about if you're already married to them?
Well, then you didn't use better judgment or discernment before getting married, so you're just going to have to deal with the consequences. You decided you're going to choose this person for a lifetime.
Yeah.
But you saw the red flags, you saw the characteristics, and they were not for your best interest. It was more for theirs. And if you chose that, then that is part of the consequences.
Can you say part of the consequences like divorce
not just divorce, misery.
Misery, okay.
Unhappiness, feeling neglected, because you didn't choose someone who was for your best interest, for your betterment.
Okay.
And that's what you look for besides the physical anatomy, which is, what our eyes would gravitate towards. But it's really who the person is and how they treat you that's more important before you marry somebody. That's the key. If you choose wisely, you will have a beautiful marriage.
That's interesting. Okay, still on the papers. Angie, we are talking about the papers. Not the roles of men and women in marriage, but the purpose. The purpose of the word marriage. The essence, the reason behind marriage. Because there is a reason. There is a purpose, right? So, what do you think is the main purpose of marriage?
I think two people coming together, loving one another, and then procreating, having children, multiplying.
Okay.
Because without multiplication, then there would be nothing, essentially. So I feel like the purpose is to procreate.
Procreate. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I was listening to somebody and he made mention of procreation. Uh-huh. And he said that the major essence of purpose of marriage is procreation, is to give life to God, in the sense that, you have to multiply God here on earth. And I kind of agree with him because, just like you said, it's not the only purpose, right? But it's one of the major purposes.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
It's not about you, it's not even about your partner, it's about the righteous seed. It's about those kids or the kid. If you have kids or if you have a child, you find out that two people, they came together so that they can have this righteous seed and, prolong or, procreate and multiply God here on earth, because we are all gods. You are a God, I'm a God. That's the truth. But we are not the Most High.
Absolutely.
Right? We have the Most High, but we are gods.
Can I say something?
Okay.
So, the reason why that is really, that's a very thin line.
Okay.
If we're to believe that the purpose of marriage is to procreate, what happens when procreation is not feasible in the marriage? Then will you then get divorced? Because that is the thing. It's like I've dealt with couples who are struggling to have kids, right?
Yeah.
And it's a very sad place, because you do want to give life. It is part of our I think it's part of our individual purpose to find your partner and then procreate.
Yeah.
So when you actually get into a marriage and you're not able to do that, you feel like you've failed yourself.
Yeah.
You feel like you've failed your ultimate purpose as a human being to extend part of yourself, multiply, right?
Yeah.
So if we are to believe that the main purpose of marriage is procreation, then when you can't procreate for whatever reason, medical or otherwise, then what happens?
Okay.
Do you still stay married?
Yeah.
Or what do you do? Because in that point, in that space, you can't live out the purpose.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. That's a very valid question. And to my limited knowledge and understanding, I can say that is procreation, just like Angie said, is one of the purpose.
Absolutely.
Of marriage.
Absolutely.
But in the case where you cannot be able to have kids, no, we have other purposes. And love conquers everything, right? Yeah.
Okay,
because,
just wanted to clear that for the listeners.
Yeah, exactly.
If you say like that, it's like, wait, so what if I can't have kids or I don't want kids, then what, I shouldn't get married?
Yeah, no, I don't feel like that's grounds for divorce in any way, shape, or form. I feel like if you can't have kids, then maybe your purpose is something else. And maybe, God uses people in many different ways, and it might not just be just to have children.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah, so I don't feel like it's grounds for divorce at
The
all.
way that I've always worded it to make it more understandable is marriage is the path to completion.
Yeah.
Because with someone else, you get to be complete, your counterpart. So, and people love who they love, but it's, male and female, that's what we know.
Yeah.
So it's like a dollar bill. You have the front and you have the back. If you only had one side of a dollar, you can't spend it because it's missing a part of it, right?
Yeah.
So without your counterpart, you can't really achieve your full potential, your full level of completion, because there's parts of you that's actually missing. So I believe that marriage is that, that path to completion and to procreation. So when you complete yourself, then now you have all the tools to extend to your kids. Because I've dealt with couples who are married and are so lost and confused, the children suffer because these people did not pay attention to what they needed to do to become complete individuals first. So they didn't pass down good moral values, or they didn't teach their kids, what they needed to know before going out in the world.
Yeah.
And that's why we have a lot of trauma with children, because the parents who are supposed to be responsible for their well-being were lost.
Okay.
So I think in a marriage, if your first purpose is to find your completed self, then you make a better partner and a parent moving forward.
Okay, that's interesting. Christina, I know. Please give us your own version.
Of the purpose?
Yeah, of the purpose. And speak louder so that we can.
Okay. I think the purpose is just maybe just love. Like if you just really love someone so much that you wanted to sign a contract and be obligated to them for life, then yeah, that's love. But I just feel like before we get married, we're individual people. So it's like more so, I feel like marriages will work out if people just realize that they're not a half, like you're a whole by yourself, and then you meet another whole, then y'all just come together, and that's when procreation happens. And I believe procreation is a part of marriage, but like maybe the purpose of it is just like two people just feel like they just love each other. That's it. That's just what I feel like marriage is about. And it is a choice. Like you have to make a conscious choice every single day. That's my person. So that's where I agree, where people say, it's a choice to love this person, be with this person, and be committed to them. But I'm not against divorce, because sometimes I feel like divorce is a good thing.
But I think personally, divorce is a symptom. It's not the solution. It's not the cure. It's a sign that something is wrong.
Absolutely.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think divorce should be considered the last option. Like when you think that you have hit the wall, you cannot push the wall.
Any further.
Now you have to turn around to do what you have to do, which is divorce, right? But some people think that divorce is the
first option.
The first option, and they think the divorce is the solution to the problem that they have within their marital life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but divorce means that something is wrong with you. Something is wrong with your partner. And if you divorce, you don't know what is wrong, and you go get married to someone else, there's going to be another divorce. That's why we have this chronicle of divorces, right? You can see somebody who married to like 3 different people, and she or he is divorced. That's to show you that something is absolutely wrong. So you have to find out what is wrong. You are the problem.
Yeah, but there's cases where you divorce somebody and then you see them, they stuck with the next person like 20, 30 years.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
It's not gonna be the first choice, but sometimes you just don't belong with people. And I believe there's time limits on relationships sometimes. Like certain people belong together for 20 years and they're done after that. Certain people belong together forever.
Yeah.
But you don't realize, I feel like the problem is people don't realize that until it's too late, like they already married the person.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like you should feel like stuck anywhere you're not happy. And I do agree, like just wait until you can't fix it no more. But then again, I'm not against the people that made it the first option either. I'm not.
Yeah, you're not against them.
I'm not against them.
So you think if anything goes wrong, the moment something goes wrong,
I don't think that's what she said.
That's exactly what she's saying.
I think she
the moment something goes wrong,
Divorce.
I mean, if that's where that person stands and that's their boundaries, then yes. But then again, they could just be running away from something internally that they're going to run into every new relationship they get into.
okay.
So it's like, when it comes to divorce, I just feel like the way I congratulate people on marriage, I congratulate divorce too. 'Cause
Really?
You never know.
Okay.
They didn't belong with them. You can't force things, so.
No, you can't. You cannot
Can I
force
say
it.
something to
Okay.
what she said?
Okay.
I think what people are not realizing is they're marrying wrong. That's the problem. It's not really divorce, because divorce would not be an option if you would actually take marriage seriously and choose a partner wisely. Because even with the couples that I do talk to, a lot of them have been together for like 7 years. They don't know each other. What have you been doing for 7 years? It's like, what are you spending your time doing? Why did you marry this person? They marry for convenience. They're married because they're looking for something outside of themselves. And they think, oh, if I find it, I'm going to get it. But then they fail to understand that that person needs something from you too. And when they don't get it, they feel left out or neglected. And now they're asking you for something you can't give them, because you were ready to marry because of what you wanted, not what you were able to give the person as what they needed. So in line of what she's saying, I'm not against what she's saying totally, because it's become so normalized to just marry. People are not marrying for the right reasons. They're just marrying because my clock is ticking, I need somewhere to live, I need my bills paid. Whatever the reason is, it's external, it's not internal. And that's why a lot of marriages fail, because you're not really marrying the right person.
Yeah.
So when it comes like we don't get along, we're arguing a lot, that's because we didn't even vet each other to begin with. And now we're going to get divorced. And she's right. Why stay in a place where you're very unhappy and miserable? That's why divorce is, she said, could be a good thing, which get out of there. But if you would date properly first and get to know this person well enough to know, can I tolerate their flaws? Can I tolerate their bad behavior? Or are they humble enough to acknowledge when they're wrong, to change for the betterment of themselves, not for you?
Yeah.
And if you have someone with that spirit, you will be fine. You can work through anything. But when you're coming in here like, I'm broke and I need someone to pay my bills, and this man has money, and then you go over there and he doesn't give you attention, and you're gonna require that as a woman because we're emotional creatures. When you don't get that, now you're feeling left out, you're unhappy, you're asking him for time, attention. He never gave that to you when you were dating, so what do you expect? Why did you get married? Because your mind was somewhere else. So I think divorce is running rampant because people are not dating properly and they're marrying wrong, in my opinion.
Okay, but I think, I understand what you're saying, and I concur to what, your ideas, your opinion. But I think that in addition to what you said, people marry because of love. I love him, I love her, and then they get married.
Are you sure?
Yeah, but love isn't enough.
I think so. When you get to that moment when you feel like, I love this person so much, I want to marry him. But I tell people, don't marry because of love. Mm-hmm. Don't marry because of love. Because if you marry because of love, then you're going to find out that there is a thin line between love and hate. Right? Now, but marry somebody because you know what you are going into. Marry someone because you have found yourself. I think one of the reasons why people go into marriages and crash is because they have not found themselves yet.
That's true.
Yeah. Now, everything that they base their judgment, they base their understanding on things outside, not things inside. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's why people go into marriage and then they crash, because they have not found themselves. I advise you, find yourself, find who you are, find, the things that you can do and the things that you cannot do. Now, why am I saying this? Because you said something that is very interesting. You said that your partner is your mirror. If your partner is actually your mirror, and at the course of the marriage, you found out that this guy is so stupid and so foolish, what that means is you are stupid and you are foolish too for choosing that stupid
and foolish
person. If you marry a stubborn man, you find out that you are stubborn too. That's why, so it boils down to law of attraction, But people don't realize this. They don't know that you married a stupid man because you are a stupid woman. Because if you are a wise woman, by the time you were, I know, right? If you're a wise woman, by the time you were dating him before marriage, you will know that this is not for me.
Exactly.
This is not for me. Then you're gonna run away. You will disappear. You know what I'm saying?
Because you actually take the time to date someone.
Exactly. But now people marry somebody and they say he's stupid. You're making it all about you. You don't even think about, like, go deep down. You know that something is actually wrong with you too, not just your partner. So,
my point.
Angie, you want to say something?
I mean, I feel like a lot of that comes from like marrying prematurely.
Exactly.
Right? So I feel like, and I think society makes it hard too, because if you're at a certain age, you're too old to get married. It's like you're frowned upon if you're not married at a certain age, right? So I feel like it's kind of hard no matter how you juggle it. But I do feel like, yes, if you vet someone properly, a lot of the issues that you might run into in your marriage, you won't face it because you vetted them properly. You
Absolutely.
know how this person handles conflict. You know what their downfall is. You know how they reason. And I feel like if you don't rush into marriage and you actually date, you won't have so many like issues, because you won't marry them essentially if you know that there's certain things that you don't agree with or how they are as a person, But
okay.
Oh no, you're fine.
So, how long would it take for you to get to know, under all of these circumstances, so we know someone enough that you could say, I would stay with this person for life and I would stay married to them? Like, how long? I want to ask, like, probably all of you guys.
I think that's hard. I think it's hard because I feel like you don't really truly know someone until you live with them, and you have kids with them as well. Because it's hard to say, like, I think it's easy to say, oh, the type of parent that you're gonna be, but then when you have a kid, all of that goes out the window. And then I feel like that's enough to not agree on a lot of topics. I feel like when you live with someone and then you have children with them, I feel like that's really how you know somebody. I don't feel like it's like a time frame to know.
But just like I said, make sure you find yourself.
Yeah.
Before you find your partner.
I've got
And
a
finding
good answer
yourself.
for you.
And the one of the ways to find yourself, or the only way, I cannot even say one of the ways, because it's the only way everything comes down to it. When you find God, you will find yourself. I'm not trying to be religious. I'm not trying to be so spiritual, but I'm talking out of experience.
Yes.
When you forget about you, just go and find God, and when you find God, you will find you, and when you find you, you will find your partner. Like what I tell other men, I say, when Angie said about premature, what comes into my head when it says premature is this: not premature in age, but premature mentally.
Yeah.
Maturity.
Maturity. Mm-hmm. What you said is absolutely correct. You have to. People rush into marriage because of age, because of
so many things.
Society programming, society conditioning, and then you said, okay, I'm 30, I want to get, and you are dumb as hell, like you don't
immature,
know, you literally don't know anything about what you're stepping into, right? Yeah, because you want to have that glamorous wedding, you want the public to know that you're married, but you know absolutely nothing about marriage. Marriage is deeper than we think. It's very mysterious.
You're even being generous. Nothing about companionship.
Yeah.
Because in companionship, you have a responsibility. And people don't go into marriage thinking, I have a responsibility. It's more like the other person has a responsibility to me. So that's another problem why it's so difficult when people get into marriage. Is always about what they're going to get, not what they need to be able to give.
Say it louder. Louder, please.
What they're going to get.
This is very important.
To be able
That's
to
why I
give.
think everyone's purpose for marriage should be different. As a couple, you come in, you look over the contract, and you decide what is the mission, what is the purpose, what are we both working toward, and revisit it every so often. Because if you have no purpose, no mission, no alignment for your future together, what are you doing? Right, it's going to
be lost on the path, on the road.
So I think it can be different for everyone.
So
I don't think there has
choose-
to be
You choose somebody who is
In alignment.
in alignment. You choose somebody who is moving towards your direction. You have a destination. You know, most times it's part of the prematurity that she was talking about. We don't have destination. We don't even know where we're going.
Because they don't know themselves.
Because we don't know ourselves, you know what I'm saying? So that's true. Choose somebody who is moving towards the same direction and purpose that you are going.
Make sure of it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I said look over the contract. Make sure you're on the same page.
Yeah.
This is what we both want to create, whether it's like you
Then when you say contract,
I know, right? I was gonna go there too. Where's the contract?
Elaborate.
It's like a verbal. It's like an understanding.
I know.
I
what
would
you
say
mean.
I tell my couples a journal. You guys start the relationship off with a journal together where you both go through and decide what is our purpose, what is our mission for this. If it's procreation, cool. If we want to create something else, cool. What is the joint mission? What is the joint purpose? How are we going to achieve that? And what do we do when we're not aligned on that anymore? How do we?
Are you doing that before marriage or in the marriage?
In the marriage.
Before marriage. Okay. I would say this is what you do at premarital counseling. This is what you do as you're deciding, hey, we're going to move forward with this. We want to get married. We're engaged, whatever. Before you get married, you iron these things out so it doesn't need to be an issue within the marriage.
Yeah.
Can I say something to that?
Okay.
And I'll go a bit deeper. I agree because I've given that, exercise because it's important, right? But even before you get there, in answer to her question, how do you know somebody? Get to know the core values this person carries. Because people are going to grow and change. Who you are at 15, 20, 25, you're going to
you
grow.
revisit.
You're going to change, right? But if you're kind, you're always going to be kind. You're never going to become unkind because you got older. No. So always pay attention to the core values. Respect. How do they treat themselves? Do they respect themselves and do they respect others? Because if they respect others who are not even in a relationship with them, they're definitely going to respect you. So you see how they treat wait staff, how they talk to people. All those things tell you who this person is when no one is looking. Because people are going to change. Like she said, you could know someone, as a single person when they become a parent, they're different. Because now it's a lot of work. You have to do so much more. You have to be more attentive. Pay attention to the person's ability to handle conflict. Like when people upset them, how do they handle that? Do they want to grab a gun? Or do they say, hey, let's talk about it or something? You know what I'm saying? So just pay attention to who they are as an individual, core values that will not change with age. That's when you know, okay, I can grow with this person. But if you see like behaviors, like sometimes you can eat more, eat less, all those things, you can work around that. But the most important thing, respect, how they, level of compassion, and are they patient? Because sometimes you might need patience. Sometimes you might be in a mood, you don't want to talk. They have to be able to understand. And let me give her some time. So look for those pertinent values. And if they have that, you're good.
So what do you think? Because you're giving us your version about purpose of marriage.
Oh, purpose. I said purpose is what you make it as the couple. I don't think there has to be this iron, especially now in 2025. I don't think we have to go with the traditional view of marriage. I do believe
What is the traditional view of marriage?
I think some of the things that Sophia was saying, where it's like you come together, you procreate, you
complete
completion, like things like that. I don't think it has to look like that anymore.
But so when you say traditional, you're saying it's outdated. Like we don't have to. Have to incorporate that in. Like
if you want it for you and your contract with your person, sure. Okay. I would just say everyone needs to know what works for them, and that comes again with knowing yourself. So if you know you know what works for you, then you find someone who aligns. Why are we trying to make people fit into these boxes when they didn't say they wanted that? So you have to decide what you want for yourself and then go in with someone who also wants the same things and also know this person is going to change over time. We're going to have to revisit this again in 5 years. Are we still aligned? Are we still on the same page? Which is why, Christina, I'm very pro-divorce as well. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think it has to be a lifelong thing if that's not something you want. If it's affecting your mental, emotional, physical health, get out of there. If we're not aligned on the mission anymore, we're not aligned on the purpose, you've decided now you want to go do something completely different, then go do that. Yeah. I don't think we have to be tied down to this thing forever if it's not working, if the purpose is no longer aligned.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's really crazy because normally I would really agree with what you're saying where you say, there's things you can see beforehand. And I always say that. But right now, when I think about it, I used to not understand those people that say, he changed after. That doesn't make sense to me. But I notice it now because marriage seems way more serious. So then I'm like, people do change and that's normal. But I just feel like when I say there's a time range on relationships, like you guys could be so compatible, do all the work in the beginning. But I still believe sometimes like there's still times where you just can't make it work, even if you guys are compatible. So it's like those are the cases where I see people that end on good terms. So it's not like a horrible divorce or anything, but you just didn't belong with them. And it's not like something particularly was wrong with this person or that person. You can only work on things for so long. So I feel like marriage is more flexible than people try to make it seem. But then again, that's like lessening the importance of it at the same time.
Based on what he said, right, I think we have not really come to understand the depth and the seriousness of marriage as a whole. We see it as a thing that you do to be with somebody. It's a lot more spiritual. It's a deeper thing than that, because who is the originator of marriage is the creator, right? And when he instituted that, it is a lifelong commitment. It's not a thing you do and then after 10, 20 years, you're like, you know what? Yeah, I'm tired. I don't like it anymore. That's not what it was originally set up to be. You can date someone for 20 years if you want to. That's on you. But if you decide you want to go and sign this covenant with this person, because I'm speaking from the depth of what it really represents, it is joining yourself and literally letting yourself merge with someone else and want aligned purpose, aligned direction, aligned everything, because you're going to create children in this union. And these kids cannot be dealing with divorce all around because it affects their mental health. When you're in a relationship, you are supposed to be whole together and transfer that into your children. Because if not, you're going to create menaces to society. That's why you see a lot of traumatized children, because parents were not whole and they pass it's been found that the father can pass, dysfunctional behavior through sperm. So imagine that.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Imagine that. When you're feeling
that's true.
When you're feeling uneven about yourself, you're not feeling whole and complete or happy. When you have children, you're passing all that trauma to them.
Absolutely true.
And when you're with the right person, and
that's true.
When you're with the right, no, it's serious.
That's true.
Psychologically and biologically, that's what happens.
Yeah.
So when you're with the right person, and they can be like almost like a space of happiness and contentment and fulfillment, that's what you're passing down to your children. And you're not going to have children who are going to come back and try to kill you, stab you, disrespect you, because that also happens because there's so much toxicity in the household. That is transferred to the kids. It's not the easiest thing to do, but I think if we're going to decide we're going to get married, it has to be so serious that we know there's no out. So take your time to pick the right person. There's no rush.
There is
but
no out.
I'm serious.
I believe there
because
is an out.
No, let me tell you, I'm a woman of a certain age. Trust me, I'm up there. But I promise you, I have seen my parents, my aunties, and my uncles go through this confusion, and nobody in 4 generations is doing well. Why is that? It was passed down, and because they choose wrong, so their kids are not doing well because they had kids in the wrong space. There's divorce. There's chaos. Families don't even know each other. They don't even talk to their cousins because there's dysfunction all around. Marriage is deeper than just a person that you're going to connect with.
Yes.
That's why you have to pick one.
I agree.
Why are you staring me down?
No.
Because EB, I'm sorry to cut you
No, you're
short.
fine.
Because EB, your version is too contractual to me.
That's what it is.
You know what I'm saying?
It is a partnership.
Yeah,
it is
it's
a contract.
more.
It is a decision.
Her version and opinion is. I'm not saying it's bad. It's good. It's
We're
good.
in 2025.
I have to.
We're in 2025.
No. Listen, I know we're in 2025. The truth is the truth, and the truth will be forever.
True.
2050, the truth is gonna be the truth, and the truth sounds so traditional. It sounds so, just like you said. You know what I'm saying? This is 2025. That is where we mislead most of these
I
Gen
think
Z.
it's putting us in a limited mindset when people think, oh, we're just going to be in this. It's for life. We're sticking through it. People get comfortable. People get complacent. People are not doing the things they were doing at the beginning of. That's why I say if you revisit a contract, literally every single 5 years, 10 years, whatever, you are more committed and you're more intentional than just, oh, this is for life. Or we're just stuck here?
I don't see. You have to understand, right? She's speaking with the mindset of the new generation.
Exactly,
Because
that's the mindset.
We are from
and
another.
that's the problem we have.
No. Listen.
That's the problem we have. Angie, do you understand what I'm saying?
It's been
With this
carried.
new generation mindset, if
I'm the new generation.
More intentional now.
Hold on. If we keep
Wait.
towing the line of this new generation mindset, like, okay, if it's not comfortable, get out. If this happens, get out. Let's revisit and
Let's
revisit.
be intentional is all I'm saying.
I understand.
But wait.
But my point is this. My point is this. Just like you said, marriage is spiritual.
What about the non-spiritual people? What about
Hold on. That's why you have to be spiritual. Okay, hold on.
Wait.
Marriage is very, very spiritual.
It is.
It's a serious thing.
Very.
If you get in, there is no getting out. Listen.
a trap?
No,
I know, right?
Hold on.
When he says it like that,
You can get out.
when he says it
No,
like that.
there is an exception to that, right? Even
Yes,
in
even
the Bible,
yeah.
there is an exception
There
to
is,
that, right?
there is a
But
breakthrough.
God says something that I love so much. He said, I hate divorce. God hates divorce because marriage is just like she said, it's not about you.
It's really
I am
not.
telling you, if you have kids, if you don't have kids, it's about us. If you have kids, it's about the kids.
Yeah.
You have to really know.
That is your bloodline.
Exactly.
That is. Can I say something?
Okay.
When you said, what about not the spiritual people, right? It's almost impossible to say that because we are spirits first. We are always going to, not religious, but
Yeah,
spiritual.
spiritual,
We are
yeah.
always going to be spiritual because we exist in spirit first before we exist in body and mind. So when you think of it that way, you're very much intentional when you're choosing a partner. Yes, have those conversations. Try to align your direction where you're going and everything, but you're always spiritual. Even there's no way you can change that. And I do understand where you're coming from because, like he said, people have changed the construct as time has passed, right?
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, what it was meant to be will always be, and that's why it's so messed up. Because it's not being handled the right way, it's not being seen the right way. And another thing for us to keep in mind is the reason why divorce is hated of sorts, because as well as God, there's also the devil. He's against marriage. Why? Because marriage breeds unity.
Yeah.
So anything that is in unison has power. And the enemy is there to what? Destroy it. So he likes when people are scattered. We didn't create ourselves, so we cannot, change the nature or the order of creation, how things are supposed to work. We're just supposed to understand it and do it right.
And I think, to add to what you said, I think, Angie, you're married, right? And the reason you are still in marriage is not because your partner is perfect. It's not because
for my kids.
Exactly. It's not because your partner is doing everything right. It's not even because you are doing everything right. But you are there because you want to raise your kids the right way.
And that's their mission. That's what they decided.
Hold on. She want to raise the kids. She is family to me. I know what I'm talking about. She want to raise the kids the right way. I don't want to say the Christian way, the truthful way, and the loving way. Father and mother being together, doing things together, loving each other. That's why she sometimes
endures.
Exactly. That's why she endures some of the things. She is not stupid. All the girls will say, I want to get out. Like I can't deal with this anymore. Just like it be, to me, sound everything so contractual or like too conditional. Like I'm getting out because he is messing up. And actually he's messing up. But I think she has gone to the level where she understands that marriage is something big and serious. It's very mysterious, and she want to do it right and try and keep moving by the grace and mercy of God. Keep doing it. Keep helping her partner. And there's gonna be squabbles. There's gonna be troubles. There's gonna be disagreement. There's gonna be disappointment, frustration. There's gonna be lies. I'm telling you. There's gonna be some things is gonna come up. Before you get into marriage, you have to be ready that those things are going to come up. I mean, it's not going to be intentional, but things will happen. Things will happen because you're dealing with human beings. You know what I'm saying? Are you perfect? Are you perfect? You are not perfect. I have never seen any perfect human being. No one is perfect. You know, that's why I don't even tell.
But that's also still not an excuse for bad behavior.
Okay, now,
Imperfection.
when you say that, yeah, that's true. But marriage is something when you get in, it takes a lot for you to get out. It takes
If
a lot.
you choose to, because you can easily just leave.
Right.
Yeah. You can, I mean,
And I commend you. I really do. It's not the easiest thing to do, especially when someone is not really being sensitive to your own needs and what, you know, the emotional turmoil you're going through. So don't feel you're doing the right thing because you know it's the right thing, but continue to talk to your partner as well. And use this guy because he seems to know a lot. So let him talk.
Yeah, right. He sat in between us one time, and I didn't see him for like 3 years after that.
Come on,
Things you were saying last
You know what?
things you were saying last time, I believe her.
No,
come on.
No, she's
gotta
right.
have her back, man.
No, she's right, but I disappeared because I was lost. You know,
Now you're found.
now I found myself.
Okay, good.
I have found myself.
He's
you know.
coming over.
So I was lost. So what I did was, you know, go on a pilgrimage for 3 years in order to find myself because I was lost and I needed to find myself.
He has been found.
You
He's
know,
coming over.
So right now,
kudos to you.
So-
honestly.
yeah. So no, she is a powerful woman. I'm telling you. I am telling
That's
you.
why I'm telling you to go over there and back her out.
But also going over there.
She is amazing. I know what I'm talking about.
I do
You
think
know,
there's something to be said about what children are witnessing. If they're witnessing a miserable mother
Yeah.
who's not being treated well by the father, not saying that's your situation, but
Exactly.
in general,
That's
that's
gonna be
also not.
yeah.
I don't think you need a.
No,
I
it's
don't think
traumatic.
It's a beautiful.
Yeah,
thing.
that's not good.
Traumatic.
I'm a product of that.
Yeah,
Same. And
that's
I
not
think my
good.
parents do better as best friends, and they should have got divorced.
We
A
should.
long time
So
ago.
I think sometimes there is a necessity for the kids to get divorced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
if the household is traumatic and the household is toxic to the point where it's unhealthy and the kids are witnessing things on a daily basis,
Yeah.
yes, then
That's
of
bad.
course I feel like that's grounds to not stick in a marriage.
Yeah.
But however, I do feel like there's things that can be tolerated and worked through as far as it's not traumatizing your children.
Absolutely. And he mentioned something for you, right? When, you know, and I told you, I'm a product of two married people who argued, fought, did not get along, all of that stuff. And the only thing that saved me was me finding God and building a relationship with him and knowing him for myself. Because if I would have followed what my parents were actually showing me at home, I would be so stupid, honestly. I would be the worst partner to ever date because it was nothing but trauma and toxicity. So, like he said to her, get to know God for yourself. Why? That's your creator. It's just like art. You never understand the art without knowing the artist. You have to know where you come from and why you are the way that you are. When I started building a relationship with God, I found myself a lot more in that than anything. My parents didn't teach me anything, to be honest.
Yeah.
But they did talk a lot about God.
Yeah.
They did, you know, make sure that we knew the Bible and we knew that God was good, the devil was bad. Follow the instructions of God. Ignore, you know, don't do this bad thing. So that was the foundation. But as an adult, I decided, you know what? I like God because he's good, right? He's kind, he's caring, he takes care of everybody. I want to know God and what he expects from me as an individual. I don't care what my parents did, my siblings are doing, my friends, family. What does he want from me personally? And when I found that, it molded me to who I am. And it saved me from, you know, doing silly things and joining the wrong crowd and, you know, being so, not having discernment. I built discernment from that. I promise you, I can walk in the room and tell you who's good, who's messed up. It became a skill because I wanted to know. And it also aligned with my purpose of helping people through their relationships and through discernment and gaining wisdom and understanding.
Yeah.
So get to know God for yourself. Ignore everything else around you, and you will find yourself. Like you said, he took 3 years. So it
took me 3
Have you arrived?
years.
Do you think you're there yet, Chidi?
3 years to find myself. And the interesting thing is, you can't stop finding yourself.
No.
Yeah, it's a forever
It
process.
is, yeah, it's a continuous thing. The moment you stop, you start retrogressing. So that's why you have to, on a daily basis, work on yourself. And let me tell you, people don't understand. If you don't read, if you do not read, you will not know.
A lot.
If you don't know, you cannot understand anything. And if you don't understand anything, you start acting foolishly. I am telling you, you have to, I advise people, you have to read. There are people who have dedicated themselves, their lifetime, to do research and study and come up with some of these self-help books, some of these personal development books. You have to read them. And do you know one funny thing about these books? They have roots from the Bible. They have roots from the scripture. That's one funny thing about these books, because even the authors, they don't go to church. The authors, some of them don't believe in God, but they will refer you to a book called Bible, to a scripture, to write about some things. You know what I'm saying? So we have to read. We have to. You can do this by your natural, environmental, ideologies, and influence. You can't do it like that. You have to read so that you can question some of the ideologies
But
you have.
that's what's wrong. That's what's wrong in society.
Yeah.
Following a trend, following what your favorite influencer says, and then you end up doing the wrong thing because you don't know for yourself.
We grow up differently. That's why you have to respect people's opinion. You grew up in different environment, same thing with me. But what I have to do is I have to really start purging myself of my ideologies and start questioning some things. Now I know that I don't even need to go to church before I go to heaven. I don't need to go to church. But before, I think not going to church is a sin. That's what I think before, right? Yeah, because I was religious. But now I find out that we are more spiritual than physical.
Absolutely.
So now I start living more spiritually by hearing good voices, the voice of God directing me what to do, right? So you have to do that on a daily basis. That's why it's very dangerous. Like when you say this is 2025, I'm telling you, I know where you're coming from. I understand you. I do. But there is bound to be problem. People are going to change. But you have to find what they call foundation. If God is not the foundation, the house is bound to fall, no matter how beautiful it is. When something happens, when storm comes, because storm is going to come. We go into marriage thinking storm is not going to come. We go into marriage thinking like he's supposed to be buying me flowers. He's supposed to be taking me on vacation. Now go into marriage thinking about what are you going to do for the next person. You don't think about it. Forget about yourself. That's what marriage is all about. You forget about yourself. Think about the next person. And you definitely make sure you attract somebody who thinks about you and not himself.
That's when
that's why I say if you get married to somebody who is selfish, definitely there is something about you. There is something stupid that attracted you to him. I'm telling you, that's the way it works.
See, I agree with that, but things need to change because a lot of marriages lasted in the past because women wasn't allowed to say no, I don't want to be here, I can't leave, I don't have money, I want the best for my kids. Everything is supposed to change. As even the Bible had a New Testament. You can't keep doing the same old stuff every time. I grew up religious. As an adult, I'm not. I don't see God as the foundation of a marriage. I see us making that foundation. Even when I used to be religious, I still felt as though yes, God has there's divine intervention and things like that, but I still feel like he gives us free range on this earth. And I feel like we are the ones that are supposed to make the decisions and make the foundations of our relationships on this earth. I don't feel like you have a say in that. That might sound crazy, but I just don't. And I feel like it's kind of dismissive to say, I give it to God, my whole marriage. Because then again, it's if things fall apart, and then they can blame religion or they can say this or that. What do you really want for yourself? I feel like you learn yourself first, and then you get to know God if that's your route, and then you get to know marriage if that's your route. Then you get to know your kids if that's your route. That's just how it is.
Yeah, that's how you feel.
There's nothing wrong with having that feeling, but what I would also advise you is talk to more people that feel like you and see how that has played out as well. Because you have to learn. Yeah. We live to learn. If you're not learning, you're not growing, and it's as good as dead, right?
Yeah.
And I may have this opinion now, but when how old are you, if I may ask?
I just turned 25.
See, maybe when you're 30, 35, you'll grow your mind differently, right?
Yeah.
Don't relent. This is what you believe. That's what you believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't let anyone make you feel bad for believing that. But I will say, don't just stop there.
Yeah.
Ask questions to people who think like you.
Read books.
Hey, how has that worked out? Or the people who are actually achieving what you want. Find out from them, what did you do that made you gain the success in whatever you're doing? Because I'm trying to get that. And they will tell you, well, I put God in the foundation of my marriage. And now you'll learn maybe God actually is necessary, right? Because even though you don't believe that now, but if you keep asking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people, and they say, my marriage only started working when I put God in the middle of it, that's knowledge. And that's something you can say, maybe I need to add that to my thinking. But as of yet, feel free to think what you want, but don't just stop there. Continue learning.
Interesting.
But I started at that mentality though. I literally grew up whole life, first Catholic, then Christian, whole time. And I really was like a Bible thumper, Jesus, all that. And the marriages that I've seen some good ones. I can't just say all Christian marriages fell apart. I just didn't like what I was seeing, even outside, if it wasn't a Christian. But what I realized, because I'm an observer, it's not that I don't want to be married, it's not that I do want to be married. I'm neutral on the topic because I never know what happens. But I'm an observer, so I like to observe every single point of view to see which one is right. And me growing up in church, I thought that was right at first, personally. And I observe and I observe and I go in circles back and forth. But what I came to realization is that those people that, actually, it kind of goes back to what you said, those people that check in with each other every now and then, religion or not, even if they had a foundation on God or if they don't believe in God, it was just the people that have that communication with each other and integrity.
Yes.
So I think it comes down to the communication and the integrity to your person.
Yeah.
Really though.
That's true.
That's what it is.
But do you know that's also in the Bible, though?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, but don't confuse yourself. Don't confuse.
All of that is in the Bible, that if you have integrity in your marriage, if you communicate, if you treat this person the way that, like it says, husbands, treat your wife like Christ treated the church, right? That means love them selflessly.
Yeah.
And so if you follow those things, you're going to get the results you want no matter what. Like I said, you don't have to be religious, but
Please
know the instructions.
say that one more time. You say, husband, love your
wives
wife.
like Christ loved the church. No, like seriously.
That's
what I'm
over.
saying. You don't even, like he said, you don't
What are we
have
saying?
to go to church, right? But if you know the word and you know the instructions, it's all for our good. It's like a manual to our humanity. If we just, that's all it is. You don't have to go sit there. No, build your personal relationship with God. Know the instructions. Like you want to build a table, you have the manual. If you don't, something's going to go wrong, right? So build yourself. Read the Bible like you want to understand it. Like
not like a religious person.
No, you just want to understand what are the instructions for me as a human being, because someone created you, and this is the manual for you to be the best human you can be, right? And then just kindness is good, love is good, integrity is good,
Thank you,
and if you carry on like that, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, there's some
Thank
gems
you,
in the
Jesus.
Bible. I'm not
Fine.
gonna lie to you. Like, I'm not religious no more, but there are gems in there. I will admit. I still like Psalms. There's certain things that I agree with. There's certain things I don't agree with. But it wouldn't hurt. I see what you're saying though.
Yeah.
Like, even if it wouldn't hurt, because
No,
there's
that's
some
true.
things that can benefit the relationship. But I just feel like we should just turn into ourselves and.
Stop
But
it.
you're-
Stop right there. Turn into yourself is a spiritual word. Turn into yourself. Now you're talking about
I'm spiritual. I'm not religious.
exactly.
No,
now,
it is. It's
now you're
spiritual,
talking
yeah.
you talked about those religious marriages. They don't turn into
To themselves.
They only based on outside.
What it looks like.
What it looks. I'm telling
That's the
you.
difference.
Now you can go to church every day. That doesn't make
Nothing.
you Christ-like.
Nope.
No way. Now the Bible is like where you're gonna get the formula to
Turn it
you know,
into yourself.
yeah, to turn into yourself and make your marriage a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
That's why from now till the end of time, I don't know when the end of time is gonna be. The EB, I'm telling you, listen, from now till the end of time, there is no truth in the Bible that is gonna change. Nothing is gonna change. When the Bible said, whatever the Bible said about whatever the Bible said, now let me tell you,
It's going to be like that forever and ever. You know why? Because it's traditional, but it's the truth. It is the truth. That is the foundation. That is the foundation. Marriage is an institution where, you cannot graduate. It's where it's a decision.
School forever.
Have that mentality. I'm not forcing you, but I'm telling you that you have to have that mentality
Always learning.
of what I'm getting into is not going to be easy, but it's a beautiful thing, because we are controlled by our flesh. So many things is going to happen. People are going to lie to you. People are going to betray you in your marriage. Like my dear sister right here, she has been betrayed several times. She could have left.
Oh, it's not a secret.
Yes.
I'm
Such
pretty
is life.
No,
secret.
she could have left. You know what I'm saying? But she has grown to understand that, okay, I'm doing this because of the righteous seeds that God has given to me, which are my kids. So I'm doing this. The last time we had one controversy about unconditional love. I don't want us to talk about it right now. They really want to strangle me, about unconditional love. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, I think that's one of her driving force. She has made up her mind. This is a lifetime commitment. I know that, like what she usually say, like, am I going to be there even if they're killing me? Even if
Absolutely not.
No, absolutely not. But based on her mindset, everything is working out. Everything is working out gradually.
I would really love to agree with you so bad, but what I don't see is men sticking around. I don't see men congratulating other men. Oh, I know your wife betrayed you, but
you stayed.
You stayed. I'm so proud
This
of
is
you.
what we were getting onto about the last time. It's the double.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he didn't like that double.
But I do feel like.
Worse if she already carried the child. That's a shame now.
But I do feel like men stick through it. They just don't talk about it. I do feel like, and this is just my opinion. I feel like men go through a lot in marriage too, but they just don't talk about it. Because as men, I feel like they suffer in silence on multiple things, right? But I feel like men go through a lot more than what they like to speak about. And I just feel
She's
like...
right. I've done counseling with men who have been cheated on, and they decided to stay. It wasn't easy, but they left for 3 months, right, to just gather themselves. But then they came back because they really did have love for that person, right? But in the midst of the emotional hurt and betrayal, your mind tells you, get out here. You don't want to be here. Why are you here? And you go away, but you realize that there's still this thing that's calling you, that person. And then you decide, okay, what really got you to cheat? Because women don't really naturally cheat just because it's available.
God bless you.
No, I'm serious.
God will bless my sister. Listen, stop. God will bless you, my sister. Because this one, oh my goodness, God, I love you.
But he brought up that he wouldn't forgive his person. All the men last time said they would not.
Listen.
but I just feel like they might not forgive.
Oh God. How I love you, Lord.
But at the end of the day, they didn't.
You know why? Because the last time we talked about this, right? We talked about this, and
not to say that it's right.
No.
I feel like cheating is bad no matter what, how you flip it, right? But I feel like...
Now I was trying to let them know that the way we digest cheating is different from the way women digest.
Not too much.
No,
Not too much, but different. Psychologically different, but not too much.
Emotionally different.
Yes.
Yes.
Psychologically different.
Yeah.
You can, listen, you can...
She was like, nope, not dealing with Wrap it up. But I think it comes down to core values, like Sophia said. If integrity is a core value, and that's part of our contract is integrity, and you go outside of that, you're not a person of integrity anymore.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
If that's your top value, if that's not one of your boundaries that's being crossed, sure.
Yeah.
But if integrity is on our list of things we decided.
Yeah.
Can I say something? Okay, so I just had a couple the other day. They've been married for 20 years, right? So the man, the last 5-6 years, has been neglecting the wife, right? And she cheated because he's not been attentive to her. And she's been starved of that attention and feeling desired and all that stuff, right? So she went on a vacation or whatnot, and she cheated. And he found out. And now he's
Dang,
like,
how?
I need to.
How he find out?
No, she didn't
had
tell
to
him.
tell him.
He found out.
He found out because he took her phone. She was not feeling
She
where
wanted
she went
him to find out.
I
She
think
left
she
that
was
in there.
dealing with it, but she was
I
not
will
very.
leave.
Listen,
She left it in
I
there.
will leave.
wait a minute. Wait.
I will
Let
divorce
me
her.
say something.
Okay.
So they came to sit and talk to me. I asked them. I said, "Okay, you're mad now because you acted a certain way. She reacted to your action, but you're mad at her for the reaction. Where's your accountability?
Yeah.
You neglected her, and he admitted to it. He's like, when she would like to get his attention, he'd be like, I'm busy or whatever. So he put other things in front of his wife. And you're not supposed to do that because that's your priority no matter what. And if you're not able to prioritize her, explain what's going on so she can understand. So he did not do that. And now I'm like, you can't fully blame her for the reaction because you caused something in her to want to shift. I'm not condoning her cheating. And I told him that. I said, you're going to have to work through this. Because had you been a husband, as you should have been, she would have continued to be a wife. Mind you, they've been married since their 20s. They're in their 40s. And she's never cheated before. And he's cheated twice.
Should have led with that. You should have led with that.
But this is like when he was, I'll say he told me 25 and 28. But ever since he is not. But still, imagine you've done it, she's forgiven you. She's accepted that, hey, you erred or whatever it is, right? And she's stuck in there, hung in there. And now she does it and you're ready to check out. I said, that's rather unfair. She gave you chances. You need to give her this chance.
There's also boundaries. If that's his boundaries, it wasn't hers.
But
That was her choice.
Her
to
boundaries,
say.
but this is the thing. They have kids. They have 2 kids, right? Her boundaries were also broken. But she said, for the sake of our kids and our family, and I know you're not a bad person. He was under bad company when that happened. His friends, influence, and all this stuff. And he told her, she didn't find out. He came and confessed the 2 times it happened. So, like he said, women cheat for different reasons. Men cheat for whatever reason. I think that there has
We
to
cheat
be,
for no reason.
well, that too. But I think there has to be an understanding first of why.
We
it
are,
happened.
no, listen, we are so.
Find out next time on part 2.
Hold on, can you?
You said what?
No, listen to
You
me.
cheat for what?
we are so,
Next episode.
we are so dumb.
trying to do that.
We are, no, listen to me.
No reason is crazy.
We are so dumb that
reason is
we
crazy.
cheat for no reason. Listen, do you know why we cheat for no reason?
Why?
Lack
One
of
of the
integrity.
reasons we cheat for no reason is because the greatest need of a man naturally is sex. And the greatest need for a woman naturally is affection, right? We are, by nature, we are, let me use this word, dogs. We want to have fun. Hold on, naturally. I'm not saying it's the ideal thing.
But you have sex with your wife.
No, hold on. I'm
Okay.
talking about nature, right? I'm driving at something. Naturally, we want to go out there and have fun. That's why when we see these beautiful ladies, we are so much attracted to them, and sexually, right? But women are different. They are built different. Listen, hold on. They are built different. Emotionally, they want affection. Women are not, the sex drive in men and women are not the same. Do you agree with me on that one?
Were you
No.
true? No, wait.
Yes, I agree with that though.
Do you
that's
agree
true.
with me?
I agree with
That's
that.
true.
I've seen it
That the
differently.
sex
At different
drive-
ages of life. I've
The
seen it
sex
different.
drive in men and women.
Women have self-control, you don't.
Hold on. We have most men until you start to discipline yourself, or you start to work on yourself, or you start to find yourself. But most men have no discipline. They don't have control. They want to go out there and do stupid things. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but I'm talking about being natural. The way we are created naturally. You know what I'm saying? Without no discipline right now. Women want affection because they are full of emotion. We just want to have fun. So that's why I said for no reason. But women, when a woman go out there, and have sex with another man, now what happens is this: she does that for a reason. The man must have pushed her or some of the circumstances must have a reason for her to do that, right?
Oh, she's looking for something that's not available.
Exactly. Or that's a reason. That is a reason.
But wait.
But the point is this. Now, the point is this. When a woman do that, go to that length of doing stuff like that, there is every possibility. That's my fear. Oh my God, God help me. There is every possibility that it might happen again.
If a woman does it.
Yeah.
No, if a woman does it, she's probably leaving. She's probably like on
She's
the
already
outs.
checked out.
Yeah, she's
been
probably on the
out.
outs.
Can I speak psychologically
She's
on
what?
this?
She's already checked out.
She's already
If
trying to
she's cheating,
either
she's checked out.
leave. Yeah.
Please, this is the end of the show.
That's why I said we gotta do part two.
Listen,
Wait.
God bless you.
I mean, just to be
This is the
fair.
end.
But
This
just to
is
be fair.
because once she does that, she's already what?
Checked out.
She's checked out.
Hold on. Once a man does that, what?
He just wants his cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
No. Is he checked out?
No.
Exactly.
A man would
That's
not.
Wait. Can I
But
say
wait,
something?
does that make it right?
Let me speak
No.
psychologically
Say
on
something.
this.
No, we're not saying it's right.
Wait.
But that was the point that we were
Chi.
making the last time.
Let me
okay,
speak psychologically on this, right?
Okay.
There are some women who, because they need the affection, they will sleep with any man who gives it to them, right? Multiple people.
That's the
Even if-
reason.
Even if they're in a relationship, it's possible.
Yes.
But I think when a man cheats, honestly, wait,
Okay.
before you jump.
Yeah.
It's an obvious tell that he does not have discipline, nor does he have that high standard value of respect for himself.
Give me 5.
No, I'm serious.
No, he agrees with all of that. He agrees.
No, but if you say you love someone and you really do, you would not cheat on them. Which I agree, men would do it because it's available. But that's because they don't have self-respect
I said it.
nor discipline.
I said it.
That's what that is.
I said it.
Because psychologically, let me tell you, if a man does not have respect or value to something, he doesn't care how he treats it. If he does not give that self-value to himself as a husband or someone in a relationship, he will sleep with any woman he's attracted to. Because before you physically sleep with someone, you've already slept with them in your mind.
Yeah, that's true.
You
Absolutely.
have envisioned it, you've fantasized about it, and you feel like it's going to be a great time. That's why men refers to sex as fun. Sex is not fun.
Exactly.
It's not a fun activity, but they're
That's
like,
the way
men like
we
to have
see
a
it.
good time, so they're
Yeah.
going to sleep around.
Yeah.
But it's because the way that they give sex value.
Yeah, exactly.
They see it as a fun activity, something to just do. They don't give it the proper value.
That's
because
true.
it is actually intimacy that binds two people.
Forgive us.
They don't see it that way.
We are very sorry. Forgive us.
Are you speaking for all men
We
now?
are dumb.
No, seriously.
Forgive us.
So when a man cheats,
Ibi, please.
Ibi's like, what's your take? Because you look like.
I thought we were wrapping up.
Yeah, because of time,
I thought we were okay.
we're going to the next section. Do you know that literally we
That's a
have
lot
dealt
of
with the papers of marriage a long time? You know,
It just kept on going.
Yeah, more than hours. It's an interesting topic. That's why
You can always segment it.
Yeah, exactly. And we cannot exhaust this topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why this House of Chidi is based on marriage, papers of marriage, and papers of life. You know, finding your life papers and marriage papers. You know, that's the essence. We can delve into other
We
things.
need a part 2 on that cheating because I need to hear what you
But she said something. This is a woman telling me that when a woman cheats, checked out. When a man,
Most times.
No, not most times, not all the time, but you know,
For the most part.
for the most part. But men, when we cheat, you know,
You're trying to minimize it, and
when
we're
you
not
cheat,
doing
what are you
that.
expecting?
He's
Wait,
trying to minimize
wait.
it.
When you cheat, what are you expecting to happen?
when we
For you to come back and
For a
she takes you
woman
back?
to, he expects a plate cooked for him, feet rubbed after
no,
coming back.
I expect you. If I cheat for the first time,
For the first time.
As a man that I am, and as dumb as I was, as undisciplined as I was, I expect you to forgive me,
And do what?
and we work on it, right? Because I will work on myself, and I will be better. I will do better.
So you expect her to take you back?
Yeah,
and
take
give you
me
another
back.
chance?
Yeah, give me another chance.
And do you think that's fair to expect that?
That's a first offender, and you first offender, and you can literally give first offender, you know, that leniency, that and compassion, like, you know, forgive, because love is forgiveness, and marriage,
Love is
you know,
faithful.
Wait,
hold on.
but if you expect that, why don't you also expect to give that when she cheats?
because woman, just like she said, naturally, when she cheats, she definitely, most definitely, maximum definitely
Not say those words.
checked
So
out.
then why don't you work on regaining her love again? Since you realize
Which is very
that.
possible.
Now,
Yeah.
Which is very possible.
It's very possible. It's very, very possible.
Absolutely.
But because there is nothing God cannot do, right?
Amen.
Yeah, it's very possible. But the truth of the matter is this: is very hard because.
But why? It's just fun, like you said.
I mean, yeah.
No, it's not fun to the woman. Except people who are doing it for money. That one is business, is different. But we are talking about wives here. Now, when she does that, she already checked out, and you can win her over. She can change, but in most cases, it's very difficult for the woman to, turn around completely and come back to that marriage because. Now
The man was
Wait,
neglecting
wait.
her.
Right. Or cheating,
But you can
essentially.
see, Chi, can I be
Yeah.
honest with you?
Okay.
What you put out, you also be willing to receive. And I think that because of your mindset, that, well, women cheat differently than men, so if I offend first, then she should be able to forgive and understand. And then that's fallacy.
It's childish.
Because honestly, it's an emotional betrayal. Either way you look at it.
Well,
Wait.
You're right.
If your wife cheats,
You're right.
you feel emotionally betrayed.
But
If
I want you to
cheat-
understand that what I'm saying is based on the nature of men and the nature of women. I'm not saying it based on the spiritual side, like
psychologically.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I know is when we cheat is very destructive to the emotions of the woman.
Facts.
I'm not denying that.
And to the man too when the woman cheats.
When the woman cheats, we will just simply go and die because.
I believe that. I actually believe
No,
that.
you can't take it, right?
Wait,
But
wait.
see- But see, because
You know
can't
what? You
take
know what?
it,
You know what?
Why?
Because when I was sleeping, God put me in a deep sleep, and God took part of me.
Your rib.
I don't. It's not necessarily the rib, but God took part of me and molded, built. See that
Constructed.
woman constructed. Listen now. There is something women don't know. Oh gosh, the most influential and powerful thing that God has ever created. The most amazing and wonderful thing that God has ever made is a woman.
I wish I had
Wait,
cameras
wait,
on
wait.
everybody in this
Wait,
room.
Hold on. There is something. I don't know. That's why I don't know. Do you know why I don't know? Because God put me to sleep. He doesn't want me to see how He did this work. This work was completely done. Women are very powerful and very influential. They can, if you don't have any fear for women, oh God.
But isn't that the more reason why men should treat them like that precious person?
That's the award-winning
that they
question
are?
here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now,
Yeah.
when you,
It's very
there is a way
avoidable.
they say
Yeah,
it.
right.
The truth, there is a way they said it. They say, when you have a problem with your wife, your prayer will not be answered.
Facts.
Listen, oh gosh, women are,
We're precious. We're intricate.
no, precious
We're
is
delicate.
It's understatement. Like I don't know how to qualify women, but there is something about women. That's why they can bring down kings. That's why they can bring down
The more
anything.
reason why men
Now,
should treat them.
we treat them like that, but sometimes because of our imperfection, sometimes of our nature, we seem to stray and
Women
do
are
stupid
also
things.
imperfect, though.
Now, women are imperfect, but,
As well.
but women on the real, ideal, supernatural level, women don't cheat. Women
He's
don't
holding us
cheat.
to a higher standard than men.
No.
Yes, women don't cheat. Listen, women don't cheat. Women
that
don't cheat.
is,
You know why? Because
reverse psychology.
no, that's
No,
the truth.
that is true,
You know
right?
why women cheat?
Women do
Most
cheat.
times, the reason women cheat, that's why I'm saying that they have a reason for cheating. Women don't just get up. I want to go cheat.
No, it's very true.
You know what I'm saying? But I can call Kobena now and say, Kobena,
I want to go and cheat.
Let's go. Let's go
cheat.
to Blue, and we will go to Blue, and we start having alcohol, and
next thing you know,
the next thing,
one shorty.
Who are these beautiful girls over here? You know, maybe Kobena, we can go talk to them, right? And alcohol is talking, not
Don't
me.
put him in this.
That was not me. That was not me talking, right?
The alcohol.
That's alcohol talking. And,
Women treat you when they're drunk.
listen. Let's go have fun. But a woman cannot go to a bar and with her friends and get high and say, "Who the heck are these?"
Oh, yes, she can.
Hold on.
Yes, she
In
can,
most
and it's
cases,
more
I'm talking
accessible for
I'm
women.
I'm talking about wives.
Yes.
Wives cannot go to bar and say, "Oh, who are these handsome niggas?"
They literally can.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have the restraint for all the steps it's going to take to get into bed with them.
Exactly. That's why
All the steps.
you can, but you won't. You can, but you won't, because you respect yourself, because you know who you are. But we don't. We are reckless.
But then,
said we're
don't
Forgive
you
us,
think-
we are reckless.
Don't you think that with that mindset, it gives excuse of men doing it?
That's
and
what he's
feeling-
trying to do.
No.
He's
Okay.
trying to give excuses.
Let me be clear, men
clear.
out there, please. If you are married, try as much as you can. Love
Try
your
as
wife like Christ loved the
The
church.
church.
Amen.
Please don't cheat. Cheating is wrong. The only ground where you can divorce, that is the truth.
Yeah.
Is through cheating. When you
It's
cheat,
destructive.
is destructive. Is hell. Don't cheat, men out there. Please be like me. Be disciplined. Find out who you are. Find yourself. Love your wife.
Ooh.
Love your wife. Give her love.
Like you love yourself.
And if you plan to be a first offender, man, just put it in the contract so she knows ahead of time.
Hey.
Thank you very much.
Now, no, because they call it premeditated.
Because he's
work.
already talking
No,
about first offender.
it's
I know,
gonna
we're
be-
premeditating
we
this.
can put that in the contract because it's gonna be like premeditated.
Premeditated.
But you
You
already,
know?
every time you say first offender, she said, forgive me, first
No,
offender.
I mean, you know why I say that? You know why I say that?
No,
Because
that's a
I don't want to
fact.
give them the clue that you can go on a mess up and the woman is gonna be forgiving you all the time.
I think when men cheat, they should expect the woman to leave. Period. You should expect that.
But it's in the Bible. That's the
Yeah,
ground.
but that's what I'm saying. When men cheat, they should expect her to leave.
Yeah.
Because she has all the right and the grounds to leave.
And some
Yeah, but
women
she should not leave.
do.
Don't leave.
It's
Don't leave.
non-negotiables for
Why are you
women.
saying don't leave?
You don't leave. Try to work it out.
So then don't cheat. There will be nothing to work out.
I will not cheat again.
You never cheated.
It's the smugness around
To Chidi's
it.
future
It's what I
wife,
don't like.
record that part.